For the last 20 years, we have been warned that we must decrease carbon emissions before it's too late.
Human activities like deforestation and the burning of fossil fuels, like coal, oil, and gas, are changing our climate in ways that pose increasing threats to human well-being.
You have to understand the enormity of this issue, not only for climate change, but the fragility of our dependence on imported oil.
Impacts of human-caused climate change are happening now.
Today's IPCC report is an atlas of human suffering and a damning indictment of failed climate leadership.
It's time to stop just talking about this and get it done. And we can do that. With our new innovations and technologies, Gabriel Environmental Rescue can dramatically reduce the carbon emissions that we have across the United States and around the entire world. We'll begin with one of the world's biggest environmental hazards produced by the oil companies globally, flare gas. Here is a satellite view of flare gas from 2021 until the present. This is produced by the Earth Observation Group of the Colorado School of Mines Research University. Flare gas is a worldwide environmental hazard. Gas flares contain methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane, nitrogen, and the number one cause of air pollution-related deaths in the world, black carbon. Gas flares are under extremely high pressure, causing more than 10% of the gases to escape unburnt. Each year, there is released globally 145 billion cubic meters of flare gas emissions, including 14.5 billion cubic meters of unburnt methane, millions of cubic meters of black carbon, and 10.2 million cubic meters of unburnt ethane. North America has hazardous gas flaring in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. In 2020, North America flared 20.6 billion cubic meters of greenhouse gas emissions. Well, this contained 2.1 billion cubic meters of unburnt methane, 140 million cubic meters of unburnt ethane, and millions of cubic meters of black carbon. South America has hazardous gas flaring in Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, and Argentina. And in 2020, South America flared 13.4 billion cubic meters of greenhouse gas emissions. This includes 1.3 billion cubic meters of unburnt methane, 80 million cubic meters of unburnt ethane, and millions of cubic meters of black carbon. There are thousands of gas flares across our world. In Russia, China, the United Kingdom, India, across the Gulf of Thailand and South China Sea, across the Middle East, in Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Oman, and Yemen. Africa has hazardous gas flaring in Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, the Congo, Gabon, Cameroon, and Nigeria. In 2020, Africa flared 26.8 billion cubic meters of flare gas emissions. This includes 2.7 billion cubic meters of unburnt methane, 189 million cubic meters of unburnt ethane, and millions of cubic meters of black carbon. In the Nigerian Delta, gas flaring has become one of the worst environmental hazards in the world. The Nigerian government has, as a result, outlawed gas flaring and placed heavy and large fines on the European oil companies that flare in the Delta. But the oil companies simply pay the fines and refuse to do anything about this catastrophe. There are more air pollution-related deaths in Nigeria than any other country in the world. Gabriel Environmental Rescue Technology, we can capture all of these gas emissions and black carbon. It's time to stop this global crisis. Gabriel Environmental Rescue, God-given innovations and technologies to combat climate change and save the world.